When my husband went missing, I called the police. Then I found his phone hidden in our attic. It started with silence, not the comforting kind that wraps around you like a soft blanket at night, but the kind that builds in the pit of your stomach, the kind that tells you something is wrong. My name is Sarah Winters, and I've always trusted my instincts. They helped me navigate my way through design school, taught me which clients to avoid, and warned me away from sketchy business deals. But the one person I trusted completely, my husband Ethan, slipped past all those inner alarms. That Friday morning, Ethan kissed me on the forehead before he left. He always did. His cologne lingered in the air, mixed with the steam of my coffee, and the hum of the news in the background. Back by Sunday night, he said. Same old conference. Boring as hell. I didn't suspect a thing. Not then. He tossed his suitcase into the trunk of his black sedan, waved as he reversed out of the driveway, and disappeared around the corner. I didn't even watch him go. I turned back inside, already thinking about the client presentation I had to finish by Monday. The first red flag came 12 hours later. I texted him around 9 p.m. like I always did. Made pasta. Saved some for you in case you sneak back early. No reply. I waited. At 10:30, I called. Straight to voicemail. Odd, but not alarming. Maybe his phone died. Maybe the hotel had bad reception. Maybe he'd gone out with colleagues after the seminar. But the silence stretched into Saturday morning. Still no text. Still no call. My stomach twisted. I tried not to panic. But by Saturday afternoon, I was dialing his number every hour. By Sunday morning, panic was all I had left. I called the hotel where he said he'd be staying. I'm sorry, ma'am, the desk clerk said after a pause. There's no Ethan Winters registered here. Are you sure you have the right location? I called another hotel, then 3 more. Nothing. My hands were shaking when I called Detective Lane, the local police officer who once gave a community talk at our neighborhood watch meeting. He remembered me and promised to send someone over. The officer who arrived was young, polite, and skeptical. Maybe he just took a detour. People get busy, forget to call. No, I said. He wouldn't do that. And none of his cards have been used since Friday. That's not like him. The officer nodded, but didn't take notes. He left after 20 minutes, saying he'd file a missing persons report if Ethan didn't return by Monday. But something kept gnawing at me, that quiet dread again. I walked into the bedroom, sat on Ethan's side of the bed. I tried to remember the last thing he said to me, the exact look in his eyes when he left. It was normal, calm, boring. But when I opened his nightstand drawer, I found his passport still inside. I froze. Ethan never traveled without it, even for domestic conferences. He always carried it just in case. That's when I knew. He never left town. That night, sleep escaped me. I kept staring at the ceiling, trying to piece it all together. By 3 a.m., I got up to check our home security. Camera footage. We had an old system installed when we moved in. One camera pointed at the driveway, another at the front door. I rewound the footage from Friday morning. Ethan's car was there. He walked out, suitcase in hand, got in, and drove off. But he never came back. Or so I thought. I don't know what made me check the attic. Maybe it was the creaking I heard above my room the night before. Maybe it was intuition. It was cold and dark up there, filled with dusty boxes and forgotten furniture. But something metallic glinted from under an old blanket. I knelt and pulled it back. It was Ethan's phone, still turned on, still pinging location, still inside our house. I backed, away like it might explode. My breathing quickened. I scrolled through the phone. There were no recent texts, no emails, no calls. Just one open note, recently edited. If you're reading this, you're already too late. I dropped the phone like it burned me. Who was the message for? Me. Someone else. I turned on all the lights in the house, every room, every closet. I grabbed a kitchen knife and locked myself in the bathroom until the sun rose. The next morning, Detective Lane himself showed up. I looked into your husband's work travel, he said, flipping through a notepad. Turns out, there was no tech conference this weekend. Not anywhere nearby. I stared at him. What does that mean? It means, he said slowly, that your husband might have lied to you. And another inside the hallway vent, barely visible. Each wired to transmit footage somewhere else. And worst of all, they were installed months ago. You didn't notice. These? Detective Lane asked. I felt like vomiting. I didn't think to look. They brought in a forensic team. As I stood outside the house, wrapped in a blanket and sipping coffee with trembling hands, I couldn't help but ask myself, who was Ethan, really? We'd been married 6 years. We had no children, by choice. He worked in cybersecurity for a mid-sized firm, or at least, that's what he said. But now the cracks in the story began to show. That afternoon, Lane called me into the living room. We recovered something from one of the cameras. A feed was automatically uploading to a private cloud server. He opened a laptop and pressed play. It showed me, sitting on the couch, alone, talking on the phone, brushing my hair, drinking wine, crying, and in the bedroom camera, it showed Ethan. Others were clearly from inside other people's houses. Each showed women, unaware, being watched. Some were laughing, some were undressing, some were crying. I felt sick. I played one last video. This one showed me, months ago, talking to Ethan in the kitchen. He smiled. I laughed, then I left the room. The camera kept rolling, and Ethan looked straight into it, grinning, before making a slicing motion across his throat and mouthing the words. Soon, I ripped the USB from my laptop and threw up in the sink. What had I been sleeping next to? The next morning, someone knocked on my door. It wasn't the police. It was a man in a grey hoodie, about mid-40s, unshaven and exhausted. He held up a photo. Is this your husband? I nodded slowly. He sighed. I knew it. My sister dated him. He went by the name Caleb. She found a tracker in her car 6 months ago. He vanished a week later. Never heard from him again. What do you want? I whispered. To warn you, he said. He's not who you think. He doesn't love people. He studies them. And when he's done, he disappears. He handed me a folded piece of paper. On it was a list of names, about a dozen, all women, all missing, within the last 10 years, and beside 4 of the names, confirmed dead. The man gave me a burner phone and told me to call a number if I found anything else. Don't trust the police. They won't find him. You'll have to make him come back. To you. How? He looked me dead in the eye. Tell the world what you found. That night, I posted a public video under a fake YouTube account. I showed Ethan's face, told a cleaned up version of the story. My husband disappeared, I said. He had fake IDs. He had cameras in our home. If you know anything, contact me anonymously. Within 2 days, the video hit 300,000 views. Comments flooded in. He dated my aunt. He was my neighbor. I saw him in Denver last month. But then, something terrifying happened. On the 3rd night, I came home from the police station. The lights were off. I stepped into the kitchen, and on the table was Ethan's wedding ring, neatly placed in the center of my dinner plate. I hadn't eaten at that table since he left, and I always locked my doors. I didn't scream, I just stared. The wedding ring sat perfectly still in the center of my white ceramic dinner plate. Like a deliberate message, Ethan's ring, he never took it off. Not even in the shower. Not even when we fought. I stepped back slowly, heart hammering, eyes scanning the room. No broken windows. No forced entry. The door had still been locked when I came in. But someone had been here. He had been here. I grabbed the kitchen knife, backed out of the house, and ran across the street to my neighbor Martha's porch, pounding on the door until she answered. I stayed with her until Detective Lane arrived. "This isn't a break-in," Lane said, inspecting the plate. "This is psychological warfare. He's trying to get in your head." I didn't reply. I already knew. "He wants me scared," I said softly. "He wants me to feel watched." Lane looked around the room, tense. "You should leave. Stay somewhere else. I'll have an officer watch the house." But I shook my head. "No, if I run, I'll never know the truth. I need to find out what he wants." Lane stared at me like I'd lost my mind, but he didn't argue. He knew Ethan wasn't playing by normal rules. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, watching the shadows. Every sound made me flinch. Every creak felt like a footstep. Around 2:05 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You looked beautiful. Tonight. Same sweater you wore on our first date. Cute." I dropped the phone. He was watching me. I texted back, hands shaking. "Why are you doing this?" No reply. I sent another. "What do you want, Ethan?" This time, he replied with a photo. It was taken from across the street, through Martha's guest room window. It was me, sitting on the edge of the bed, crying. I went straight to the police the next morning. Lane was already waiting, grim-faced. "We traced one of the burner phones we found in your attic. It's connected to a series of calls made over the past year to women in other states." He slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos, names, all women, all eerily similar to me in age, appearance, even style. One had gone missing in Montana, another in New Jersey, another found dead in an abandoned house in rural Ohio. He was watching them too, Lane said, probably living double lives. "But why?" I whispered. Lane leaned forward. "I think Ethan, or whatever his real name is, has been profiling women for years, watching them, manipulating them, possibly hurting them, and he's been using you as a cover." I went home in a daze. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror and looked at myself. 6 years of marriage, dinners, vacations, laughs, kisses, all of it. A performance? Who had I fallen in love with? Then I remembered the key I found in the pouch. It didn't match anything in the house, but it felt important. I checked Ethan's car, which the police had impounded. Still no match. I almost gave up, until I remembered the storage unit. 3 years ago, Ethan rented it for extra files and tools from work. He never let me visit. Said it was boring, dusty, just tech stuff you wouldn't understand. I still had the address in my email. That afternoon, I drove to the unit. The front desk clerk checked the system. Yep, still rented. Paid through the year. Locker 312. He handed me a map and waved me down the hallway. I stood outside unit 312, heart pounding. The brass key fit perfectly. It clicked open, and what I saw inside made my blood run cold. Walls covered, in photos, hundreds of them, taped, pinned, layered. Photos of me, Ethan, my co-workers, my family, every person I'd ever mentioned to him. each labeled, notes scribbled beside them, dates, habits, favorite places, fears. In the center was a desk. On it lay a large leather-bound notebook. Inside were pages, and pages of written transcripts, conversations we had at home, on the phone, even in bed. Everything was recorded. My life wasn't just watched, it was studied. And then, a final page, dated 3 days before he vanished. She's starting to notice. She's asking questions. Phase 3 must begin. Time to disappear. Below that, endgame. She must know me, truly. Only then will she understand. I snapped photos of everything. Sent them to Lane. He replied immediately. Get out of there, now. We're on our way. But just as I turned to leave, I saw something on the floor behind the desk. A small trapdoor, half covered by a rolled rug. I pulled it open. Inside was a duffel bag. I hesitated, then opened it. Inside were $50,000 in cash, a Gunawigga passport in Ethan's face, new name, Marcus Hale, and a handwritten note that said, "Meet me where it all began." I froze. Where it all began. Our first date. My childhood home. Where? I called Lane. I found a note. It says, "Meet me where it all began." There was silence on the line. Then he said, "Do you remember the first time you ever saw him?" I thought hard. It wasn't the date, not the party, not even college. Then it hit me. 10 years ago. Before we ever spoke, he bumped into me at a bookstore. I dropped my coffee. He apologized. I didn't think anything of it. It was a small store on Maple and 7th, now abandoned. I whispered into the phone, "The bookstore." Lane replied, "We're heading there now. Don't go alone." But I was already in the car. Some part of me knew this would be the end, one way or another. The old bookstore was exactly as I remembered it. Shuttered, windows boarded, paint peeling off the sides like it was trying to forget itself. The air was cold and sharp as I stepped from the car. I hadn't told anyone I was coming. Not Lane. Not the man in the hoodie. No one. It had to be just me and him now, just as he wanted. The side entrance was unlocked. Inside, the air was heavy with dust and silence. The shelves were mostly empty. Broken glass crunched under my boots as I moved forward slowly, my flashlight cutting across the darkness. And then, a flicker. The glow of a candle, deep in the back. Someone had lit it once. Some were accidents. Some knew too much. Most just. Weren't you? My mouth went dry. He continued. You were different. You were genuine. The others, they put on masks. But you took yours off. That's why I chose you. You didn't choose me, I whispered. You hunted me. He leaned forward, elbows on knees. You're right, but I also loved you. I stared at him in silence. Didn't I treat you well? He asked. Didn't I listen? Support your art? Know how you like your coffee? You studied me like a specimen, I said. You didn't love me. You curated me. He smiled again. Still clever. My hand slipped into my coat pocket, wrapping around the handle of the gun I'd taken from the storage unit bag. I hadn't told anyone I brought it. You left your ring, I said, stepping closer. That was an invitation, he said. You understood. You came. You're sick. Tires screeching, doors slamming, voices shouting. Ethan looked toward the back exit, then back at me. You brought them, he said, calm as ever. I didn't, I said, but I hoped they'd come. He gave me one last look, strangely tender. Then I guess this is goodbye. He turned, walked toward the back, and bang, I fired. He dropped instantly, blood pooling beneath him, and just like that, it was over. 3 weeks later, the files from the USB helped bring down a hidden network of people, private collectors, thrill seekers, and tech elites who paid to watch others without consent. Ethan had been their field agent, supplying footage, intel, even recommendations, but he had broken away, and when he did, he set the whole thing ablaze. The media called it the Voyeur Network. Hundreds of victims, 24 arrests across 5 states. And me? I testified twice. I sold the house. I moved across the country. I changed my name. But sometimes I still wonder, what if I hadn't noticed the phone? What if I'd dismissed that tiny red light in the ceiling? What if I'd never looked under the bed? Would I still be living beside a man with 1,000 faces? Or worse, would I have been one of the women whose stories ended in silence? Now, every time I walk into a new room, I look up at the smoke detector, just in case, because I learned something I'll never forget. Sometimes, the person who knows you best isn't your soulmate. He's your predator.